Imagine what the world will look like if with one simple test you can breed out disease. Imagine if you had the opportunity to improve your health by perhaps designing your son or daughter with the optimal health. As a mother, I believe that no one wants to walk in the pathway of throwing the genetic dice and hoping they will come out the right way. 9 years ago, my husband found out that his birth mother died out with brain disease. Not only she had brain disease, but she also had diabetes. To his surprise, 7 out of his 9 brothers and uncles have died with the same condition. My husband was adopted at birth, and hence he didn't know about his genetic predisposition, and that could have been passed down to future generations due to the mutation in his DNA. Knowing your genetic history will empower you to create a future, treatments and plans, and ultimately preventing for passing these kind of mutations to your future generations. As college students, you are in an advantage to understand the power of genetic screening. If you know that certain diseases run in your family, you now have the power to discover if you first suffer from it or not. This will enable you to create a plan by preventing a disease in higher levels and maybe stop cancer. Also, genetic screening is powerful when planning a family. The genetic and technological advancements offered in today's world will enable you to decide for your future. Hi, my name is Maria Rubin, and I believe that genetic screening should be done to breed out disease to improve your health. Today, I will present you first the importance of genetic testing, second, how can you contribute to biochemical and genetic research, and third, how can your decision will change the path of your life when planning a family. So, what is genetic testing? According to GeneTest.org, it's a type of medical test that identifies changes in chromosomes, DNA, and proteins. More than 1,000 tests are being offered to develop. A sample of blood, hair, skin. It's usually performed on a daily basis, and is a technological called the buccal smear, which is using a cotton swab to swab your cheeks. Will be sending overnight to the lab and will be reported and to your doctor. And these laboratory reports results in the writing in persons of a genetic counselor or directly to the patient if requested. So, what is the importance of genetic testing? According to Karasek, a doctor from the Department of Internal Medicine from the University Hospital reported on his research article published in 2010, genetic testing for pheochromocytoma, that these tumors were found to be rare. They thought that these tumors were rare, but because of these testings, 30% of these tumors have been identified. These identifications and mutations will lead to the future research and to possible treatments. Now that I have explained the importance of genetic testings, I'm going to explain you how can you contribute for a better future by breeding out disease. According to the Stanford Report on Preimplantation in Genetic Diagnostics published in 2004, the couples that decided to follow through these testings, they decided to do this because there was a family member that had cancer and metabolic disorders. And because of these testings and the decisions of these couples to follow out through these testings, 90 to 95% of the diseases have fallen over the last 20 years. More than 400 genes are known to play a role in cancer, and 50 plus drugs have been genetic and FDA approved, and hundreds of them are going under clinical development in different stages. So because of the decisions of these couples, right now we have treatments for several different metabolic disorders. By being active and helping breed out disease and in scientific research, we can now have the hope for a promising future and to help to find a cure for cancer by preventing the mutation in your genetic composition. Now that you know about how can genetic testing can impact your life, I'm going to be explaining to you how can you prevent to take out the genetic from your offspring. As we can see here, IVF. I'm going to explain you what IVF is. It's how your eggs are removed from the woman and the ovaries are fertilized in the lab in a partner sperm. This is called IVF, which is in vitro fertilization process. It's done in a petri dish in the lab. So when the embryo is matured for 5 days before the few cells are removed, and they're gonna become a screen. So only the best out of the 23 perfect pairs are gonna be put back into the woman's womb. Diseases such as sickle cell anemia, which is a change in amino acid from glutamic acid to valine, is what gives rise to sickle cell anemia. So we can understand that replacement of one amino acid will change the shape and hence the structure of the amino acid. That's why you have the sickle cell shape in your blood. So the science of genetics has gotten so sophisticated so quickly that it can be used not only to treat serious diseases, but to prevent thousands of them, even before pregnancy. Diseases can be stopped for families such as breast cancer are being literally stopped on their tracks. Scientists can do that by creating intestines and embryos in the lab, then implanting it into the mother's womb, as I explained before, through IVF process. Dr. Hughes, who has a PhD in molecular biochemistry at the University of Arizona Medical Center, has helped to develop PGD, which is a pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. 2 decades ago, these embryos were fertilized to find out the cure for cystic fibrosis. And today, because of the advancements of a mapping of a human genome, we can say that we can virtually take out any disease with a single defective gene. So although genetic testing sounds an ideal way to breed out disease, there has been some ethical dilemmas for PGD. And the idea is that if you can create a baby by breeding out diseases, maybe you can create a powerful athlete with great skills, or perhaps the best next musician. Well, molecular genesis, Dr. Hughes has backed up this dilemma with scientific evidence that designer babies might be possible from a technological perspective, but biology isn't going to prevent them from happening. The reason is why, because most of these traits are controlled by multiple genes working simultaneously at the same time, and that scientists cannot do. So now that you have learned about genetic testing, the advantages and the contributions that your decision will do for your life and others, you now have the knowledge to empower and create a better future by choosing to learn more about your genes by a simple test that will improve your life. Thank you. My name is Maria Rubin.